Today is the 23rd of January 2014. We're at the New York State Military Museum in Saratoga Springs, New York. My name is Wayne Clark. Sir, for the record, would you please state your full name and date and place of birth, please?
It's Norman Otis Case, C-A-S-E.
Okay. And your date and place of birth?
Well, the date was January 28th, 1930.
Mm-hmm.
Place of birth was in Arnott-Ogden Hospital in Elmira, New York.
Now, did you grow up in Elmira?
Yes, I did.
And you went to school, I take it, in Elmira?
Generally speaking, yes. I did go to Manlius later in higher grades.
All right. Now, what year did you graduate from high school? Your wife mentioned 1948?
48 sounds right.
Did you go right into the service at that point, or did you go on to college, or did you go to work?
I had two older brothers who went in the service before I did, so I had no choice. They determined that I was ready to go.
Okay. I understand you went in October the 11th of 1948.
Yeah, right.
So that was shortly after you graduated then.
Yes, it was.
Now you went into the Air Force. Why did you pick the Air Force?
I think there was a way of recruiting called a Barksdale I forget the rest of the term, but it was a recruiting effort, and it sounded to me like the Air Force was going to be an excellent way to do your time. I came from a family with all my older brothers had been in the service.
Were any of them World War II vets?
Yeah.
All right.
So that they were definitely all in fact they were very definite that I go into the service.
Okay.
It was the thing to do, the kind of thing in our family.
Sure. Now, when you went away to basic training, was that your first time away from home?
Essentially. Although I did go to a Manlius military school.
Yeah, do you want to tell us about that? You went to the military school before going into the Air Force.
Right.
What was that like, the military school?
It was the right thing for me to do because I was a pretty active type person then. Sometimes I got in a little trouble with overactivity, let's say.
Now, that military school, did that prepare you for going into the service? Was that an advantage?
Yeah, I believe it did. It was Manlius military school.
Now, you had mentioned that you had some training in basically the marching and left face, right face, about face, and all of that.
I didn't follow in this stuff.
You, I saw somewhere where you were at an advantage, where you were able to, you knew the drill commands, command and ceremony.
Oh, okay.
Now, whereabouts did you go for your basic training in the Air Force?
I think that that was really a long time ago, but
Okay. San Antonio. Okay.
Yeah, San
Yeah, I see it here.
Antonio, yeah, that's the name of it.
Okay.
That's about as far south as you can get in the United States.
Okay. Now,
Maybe not Florida.
Now, when you went to basic training, was there anybody there from your area that you knew that you went through basic with?
I don't think there was.
No? Okay. Now, once you completed your basic training, you went on to a technical school
Right,
for photography?
right.
Okay. And it looks like it was called you ended up with the 3415th Technical Training Wing?
Yes, that sounds right.
Okay. And that school was in Denver, Colorado, at Lowry Air Force Base?
Right.
Now, what did they teach you at that school?
I was not disappointed. I think it was very thorough and what you might be able to utilize in that kind of work.
Now, did they teach you how to develop film, darkroom procedures, and?
Actually, I was very pleased with it because I really did not have any previous experience with photography.
Oh, you didn't. Okay.
So it was all new to me, but I was never sorry. I thought it might be interesting and useful. More than just handling a rifle, you know.
And you enjoyed doing that type of work?
Yes, I did.
Now, I understand once you graduated from that school, you were going to be stationed in Florida, but you traded with somebody so you could go to Guam.
Oh, I forgot that now.
You want to tell us about that?
Well, I think I got to be good friends with a roommate, I guess it was, who was from Florida. And when the assignments came out, as I recall, mine was Florida, and his eyes got larger. And said, "How about it, Norm? We're still friends." So we worked it out, and we were able to make that change.
Okay, so you ended up going to Guam.
Yeah, I thought, what the hell? I might as well get into an interesting part of the world. I had never left Elmira, New York.
Now, what was your first impression when you landed in Guam? Do you recall?
I was interested in looking around, of course. And the first chance I got, I made a tour of the island. It isn't huge. It's not as big as New York State, you know.
Now, it must have been very hot and humid there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was definitely, definitely warm.
And you mentioned there was still a lot of wreckage there from World War II.
There was some there that it was evident that it had been a war there. You know.
And you mentioned you like to go hiking in the mountains there.
Yeah, I did.
Now, what about, was there any problem with like tropical diseases like malaria or dengue fever or anything like that? Did you have to take any kind of anti-malaria tablets?
I don't recall if I did.
Okay. Okay. So you worked in the lab there mostly, right?
Right.
And your lab hours were basically 8 to 5?
Right.
And now that was Anderson Air Force Base in Guam. And then eventually you went to Okinawa?
Right.
And that was, what was the name of that air base? Was it Kadena? Was that it?
Kadena.
Kadena? Okay.
With a K, yeah.
All right. And that was right after the Korean War started? I guess the according to your paperwork, the Korean War was about 2 weeks old, and then you volunteered to go to Okinawa.
Okay.
And you processed the film from the bombers coming back and forth from Korea?
That's true. That was my job. I wasn't the only one, of course.
Mm-hmm. Now, did you get to go up on any of the flights at all?
Not at all, no.
No, stayed on the ground.
Right. It wasn't suggested. Not that I was afraid of being an aircraft. But
Right. Okay. So you were basically doing more lab work and photo processing than actually taking the pictures themselves then.
That's actually true, actually.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it sounded like you had a pretty responsible position, and you were developing aerial photographs, and you mentioned that a general would come by and pick up the photographs?
I recall that there was an effort by ranking people, ranked higher rank than mine, who were going to win the war right away. It was going to be overnight or maybe a couple of weeks.
That didn't happen, did it?
No, it doesn't. That war went on for some time.
Okay. Now, while you were over there, did you get any leave time at all?
Well, I certainly had a break. You know, it wasn't work every hour, or even 8 hours a day sometimes.
And what did you think of the people of Guam? Did you have much contact with them, or Okinawa?
Natives?
Yeah. Were they friendly, or?
Well, what contact I had was, generally friendly. If not friendly, they weren't adversarial attitude.
Okay.
Except for the guy who tried to rob him.
Oh, yes, yes. Do you want to tell us about somebody trying to rob you? You had just gotten a bed.
Oh, in the barracks at the nighttime?
Yeah.
The barracks, a better way to explain it was a Quonset hut. They were left over from the end of World War II.
Yep.
Metal. With no doors. There was open on both ends. And so a native, if they inclined to do so, or anybody who's on the island there, to come right in on you while you're asleep, or thought you were asleep. You know?
Yep.
And as it happened, do you want me to expand on
Sure,
this?
sure. Tell us what happened.
What happened once was, because of my job, and the fact that the Americans did daylight, so even into the afternoon, that was the tendency to be ready for the job at the end of the daytime. And my work would start when the aircraft came back. The Americans tended to use daylight bombing. So I would be going to work when it was dark, or dusk. Dusk. And I could finish up generally probably around 2 in the morning.
Okay.
don't know, does that answer your question on that?
Well, you had just gotten to bed and then you heard somebody rummaging through your clothing?
Yeah, so that was really late, so that was
Yep.
probably after 2 in the morning.
Okay.
But it was close to that because I was still awake.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no doors in the Quonset hut.
Mm-hmm.
If there were, they weren't closed, you know. And I realized, before I went to sleep, I realized that there was somebody right there with me.
Mm-hmm.
And we slept in what they called a bed. It wasn't very comfortable, but it was a place to sleep.
Yeah.
And then it also had protection with mosquito netting.
Yep.
And that was, like an umbrella.
Yes.
And it was held up by wire. And,
Mm-hmm.
I suddenly realized, before I fell asleep, I realized there's somebody there. And I was like, wait a minute, I was the last guy to finish up in the photo lab. And I was alone, and yet there's a body right there. It's not an animal, you know. And I couldn't tell who it was, but I know it wasn't one of our people. I don't think I talked to him, but I grabbed him.
Yep.
I think he was going for my wallet.
Uh-huh.
So I grabbed him, and the next thing I know, because the place that I slept in was steel with a blanket of mosquito netting.
Mm-hmm.
It was propped on T's, the T-bars.
Yep.
So I was encapsulated in a sense, you know. Be standing right there, and I figured he may have my wallet already, so I just grabbed him.
Sure.
You know, nothing at all. Well,
It must have been quite a
it didn't
commotion.
take me long to realize that he's going to he wants to leave, and I don't want him to leave because he could have my money already. I don't know if he's got it or not, you know. So we have a big tassel, and as I suggest, there's a lot of between us. There's this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Mosquito netting and T-bars and everything else.
Now, did you wake up
He's trying to get away. I don't want him to get away. You know?
Yeah. Now, did you wake up the other guys that were
That's what
sleeping
I was
in there?
hoping to. I'd wake up the other guys.
Uh-huh.
But I don't really want.
But the bunk was upside down.
Yeah.
You got the bunk upside down.
Yeah, that's right. That's true, Mark. She's heard this.
Hmm.
That's true.
So the fellow
I'm
got
holding
away.
on to him, and he's holding on to me. He's trying to get my money or whatever.
So he got away, but you kept your wallet.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. And your boss, let's see, you talk about one of your bosses on Guam was the first sergeant that you worked for.
Yeah.
He was a former captain in World War II.
Right.
And you got along pretty good with him, pretty well.
He was Superman. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then what about Sergeant Anderson? You became a babysitter for his family, you mentioned?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And any other experiences? You mentioned you were on an airplane flight from Guam to Okinawa, and you were the only one that saw an oil leak?
Yeah, shortly after takeoff, which, as you say, I forget how far it was, but it was not a close trip, you know. That was probably 600-700 miles, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite a span. Generally north, going up to Okinawa.
Mm-hmm.
from Guam. Guam is isolated in the Pacific. It's an island and there's nothing else around. So,
Did you just happen to look out the window and see oil, or what happened?
yeah, what happened was it wasn't very long after takeoff when I see this black line
Mm-hmm.
out the window, and I couldn't figure out what the hell it was until it dawned on me, it's oil. And then it dawns on me that I better do something about this oil if I can.
Mm-hmm.
So I start yelling. There wasn't very many people in the airplane. But of course, the pilot and the co-pilot, and they were quite a ways away, but I yelled at them, and they don't know what's going on, but they came back. And at that point, why, it was clear to them it was oil.
Mm-hmm.
That black line was oil. And
So did they turn around and go back?
yeah, and I forget. I don't forget about that. I know that's what they did, but I don't know whether they decided to do that or. I didn't complain about it.
Well, it's a good thing
I
you
thought
did.
that was a pretty good move, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Because we got a long span of water out there.
Otherwise, you never would have made it to Okinawa, right?
Who knows, you know?
Yeah.
Who knows? So they did. They turned around and went back.
Mm-hmm.
We got fixed up again. Finally, I don't think we changed planes or not. I can't remember.
Yes.
We may have changed planes.
Now, after you left Guam and Okinawa, you went back to the States, but
Right.
you were still in the Air Force, right?
Right, 2 years and a day I was overseas.
Okay.
It was supposed to be, it's not important, but it was, supposedly they had to be, send everybody back that was overseas within 2 years. I mean, it was 2 years and a day. And
Mm-hmm.
I was told I could sue them by some nice guy. I forget it.
Now, when you went back to the States, did you fly back or did you come back by ship?
Remember you slept on deck? You were on a ship.
Yeah, wait a
Oh.
minute. I flew so often, and then sometimes I wasn't flying. That's right. I was through. I was on the water for on a boat. I was coming back on a boat.
Okay. Now,
An ocean-going boat.
when you went over, did you go over on a boat also?
No.
No, you flew over. Now, did you end up in Korea at all?
No.
Okay. But you were in during that period, so.
Yeah, the distance from Korea and the photo lab there
Mm-hmm.
was, well, the lab was on the same island. The planes were flying back to.
Mm-hmm.
They're not making a special trip. They're bringing their aerial roll film back.
Right, they're going from Okinawa to Korea
That's right.
and then back.
That's right.
Okay.
I'd have to guess how far that was, but it didn't take long.
Okay. Now, you mentioned an experience you had. You had an assignment from Amarillo, Texas to Bethpage, Long Island, and you had to do a photo shoot, and you ripped your trousers, and some officer gave you a tough time about it. You want to tell us about that?
I had the pleasure of Uncle Sam's flying me from the west coast to the east coast at a Long Island, actually, at a Air Force.
It was a model air show.
What do we call it?
Model plane air show.
Oh, that's what it was. A model plane air show. Yeah.
Okay, Bethpage,
And
Long
take
Island.
photographs there, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I was transported, no fee by the Air Force, but I was on a cargo plane,
Mm-hmm.
and I was sitting on a big crate. Which was, I forget why it was a crate in there, but it was, the plane itself was not it was a cargo plane,
Mm-hmm.
and there weren't many people sitting in it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I was sitting on top of a cargo box, and when we landed, and I got up, it took a hunk of chunk out of my pants. And I had no way of repairing it, and I had
Yep.
no second pair of pants. So I had to go to my duty station, holding up a flap on my rear end.
Oh, boy.
And we got to, then at that point, a captain or a major, I forget which was there, was definitely a high-ranking officer. He comes up to me and he's livid, very unhappy. "Sergeant, what are you doing there?" Like, you know, you're all ripped open. "Yes, sir, I think I know about that." He says, "Well, get out of here. There's ladies around here." Wasn't funny at the time.
Mm. So you got some pins and fixed it? You got some safety pins or something to fix it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can't remember for sure, but I got patched up.
Okay.
He said, go in the men's room and never come out again.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And let's see, you were discharged August 16th, 1952.
Sounds right.
Now, what did you do once you were discharged?
In the civilian life?
Yeah. Did you go on to college or did you go to
Yeah.
work?
Oh, I was very determined to go to college. I did.
Okay, I see you got your Bachelor's of Science degree in accounting at Syracuse?
Right.
Okay,
Syracuse University, yeah.
okay. And you graduated 1956? Yep, okay. And
I thought I was going 52 to 56. I said 4 years of college.
right, yep, and you graduated in 56.
Yeah. So.
Now, once you graduated from college, it says here you did accounting work?
Yes, I did.
All right. And you also worked for the state police?
I did for a period of time.
Now, were you a state trooper, or did you do accounting for them, or you were a trooper? So you went to the State Police Academy also? Oh, you didn't?
No, I didn't wear a uniform.
Okay.
I didn't wear a uniform in that sense.
Okay, but you were some kind of investigator. It says investigative account?
Right.
Okay. And you were it says here you were with the New York State Organized Crime Task Force?
That's right. I haven't heard that in a long time.
Okay, well, what did you do with them?
White collar. White collar.
Oh, white collar, okay.
What'd you say?
White collar.
Oh, white collar crime? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's what you were saying.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Yeah.
How long did you do that for?
I think it was, about 4 years,
Okay.
something like that.
No. It's closer to 17.
What do you think, Max?
17.
Okay. Now, did he retire from the state?
He retired from the state,
Okay.
had land that he wanted to develop, so he worked on that. That was not enough, so he went to work for the IRS Retrieval Center in Latham,
Oh,
which was just, what do you call it? It's not a digital thing. It was retrieval of old kinds of collections, archival.
okay.
And when an employer asked for material, he would pull the
I see.
reel, print it out, and would send it to the employer.
Okay. And when did he finally retire?
Let me think, probably about 10, 12 years ago.
Okay. All right. Well, since you've retired, what have you been doing? Have you been traveling?
I see this lady a lot up there.
Have you done any traveling at all?
We've done some traveling.
Alaska.
It's more earlier than later. No.
Norman, Alaska.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Oh.
Yeah. We didn't go last year.
2006 we went. And 2008 or 9, I've forgotten now, we drove cross country to see his grandchildren in Mariposa, California.
Oh, okay. How many children do you have?
2 living, 2 daughters that are living,
Okay.
1 son that died
Oh,
8 years, 10 years ago.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
and how many grandchildren?
I think it's 7.
7 sounds good.
Seven.
Wait a minute. Or you can go and ask him something.
They're
Okay.
all over the United States.
Are they? Any great-grandchildren?
Yes, 3.
3. Okay.
He's got 7 grandchildren.
Okay. Now, when you got out of the service and over the years, did you stay in contact with any of the people you were in service with?
We took a trip to Delaware,
Uh-huh.
and we had the address of one of his former buddies. And so we visited them only once, but we send Christmas cards back and forth.
Okay. Now, what about that fellow you traded with, the one from Florida? Did you stay in contact with him at all?
I don't think so.
No. Okay. Did you join any veterans organizations at all, like the VFW or the Legion?
I didn't join the Legion.
VFW West Sand Lake. He belongs to that lifetime member.
Okay.
Not American Legion, though.
VFW
Yeah, the VFW.
West Sand Lake,
Okay.
lifetime member.
All right.
Yeah. My dad was World War I,
Oh.
and he was a Legionnaire.
Mm-hmm.
I guess all those guys were Legionnaires. I don't know.
American Legion?
Yes, well, a good percentage of them
Yeah.
were. Now, did your unit have any reunions that you know of, or that you attended? The photo unit in Guam and Okinawa? No?
He never attended anything.
Okay.
Because of his involvement with the Organized Crime Task Force, he felt restricted in many senses from socializing with people in organizations.
I see.
He was active in the scouting movement in Averill Park, the Sand Lake area. His son became an Eagle Scout, and even after that, he offered his services for any of these scouts that wanted to get points for accounting.
I see.
A badge of some sort. So that's the only involvement that he ever was,
Okay.
organization he was ever in.
Okay.
And then after he retired, he felt freer
Okay.
to turn around and actually live a little.
Sure.
So that's when he joined the VFW. He didn't join it until that point in time.
Okay.
And then something happened within that group that he didn't like, and he stopped going. But he is a lifetime member.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I also have a couple photographs here that were sent to me, and I'm going to have you hold those up in front of you. You can hold them up just like this here. And do you remember when and where these were taken? If you'll hold each one up in front of you, I can zoom right in on them with the camera.
Okay.
One at a time, in front
Yep.
on your chest, Norm.
Yeah, just hold
On
them
my
up.
chest?
On your
Yep.
chest.
All right, let me put them in time here.
I think this one is basic training. That's basic training.
So this is the oldest one of them.
That's the oldest.
Okay, let me see if I can zoom in on that. Okay, that was basic training. Okay.
And then this one was when I think he was on Okinawa.
Okay. Okay, I see you were a pipe smoker, huh?
Right, only.
Okay. Do you still smoke or no?
Oh my word, no.
No? Okay. Not a good thing. Okay, you can set that down.
All right, thank you.
All right.
I think that he's enjoyed, the most of what he's enjoyed has been his family. He's still in touch with his older brother, who's 5 years older than he is.
Oh, okay.
And he was the one that was in World War II
Mm-hmm.
in the Navy. Or no, wait a minute. Yes, he was a pilot, trained as a pilot to go off the carriers, but he never was in active duty. His other brother was in the Marines for a short time, but that was not for him, so. And he's now deceased.
Okay.
And he's very close to his daughter, Kristen,
Mm-hmm.
who lives locally. And very seldom hears from his daughter, Valerie, who lives in California. An occasional card, a lot of pictures of the children.
Mm-hmm.
And that when we went cross-country was the most time, other than when he had them brought by plane to vacation at Crystal Lake, where we lived.
Okay.
Crystal Lake, Averill Park.
All right. Yep. I'm familiar with that
Yeah.
area.
And
I'm from
so-
Skodak.
Oh, and so he was very happy to see them every time that they came to visit. And but that's no longer possible. We're on limited income.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How do you think your time in the service changed or affected your life?
How many times?
Now, how did your time in the service change or affect your life? Obviously, you probably wouldn't have done the travel over to the
No,
to Guam or
no,
Okinawa.
you see the strange trees and some strange people.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Nothing you would seek out necessarily. I don't know.
now, did you use the GI Bill to go to college?
Yeah.
Do you think if it hadn't been for your time in the service, Would you have still gone to college? Would you have been able to afford to go to college?
Oh, I made it through. I graduated.
That's not what he asked. You couldn't have afforded to go to college if you hadn't had the
Oh,
GED.
if I had. I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
No, that's all right.
But,
That's all right.
okay. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I found a way, but
Perhaps.
it made it easy. I mean,
Sure.
Yeah.
But he mentions the peanut butter sandwiches or bean sandwiches served at the bars in Syracuse as a sustenance sometimes.
Oh, really?
It was a tight budget.
I can imagine. All right, is there anything else we could touch on that we missed?
I sort of forgot. Does that thing shut off in between, or?
Yeah, I can shut it off for a second. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, can you tell us why you went to Manlius? What happened?
Well, I went to Manlius from the upper grades, high school, actually, which seems like a century ago, but
You were in the study hall.
hmm?
You were in the study hall. Tell from that time.
Yeah, I think it was they had the propensity to everyone who was disobedient in some fashion, who was on detention, I guess they called it, was on after hours, and they would, as a matter of control, I think, they put all these characters in the same room. And the high school there was 1.5 stories in that room. And needless to say, I landed up in that room on one occasion. And it was the last time I was a student there because while I was on detention there, I happened to be sitting in a room that was probably twice the size of this one. And there must have been around 20 guys in there. I think they're all males. And most of them anyway. And I noticed that I was a long way from the windows like I am here. And the room was clearing out on me. And it was very clear to me, but I think it was Miss Wixon, probably was 90 years old at the time. And she'd look at everybody, and then she had some kind of paperwork or something, and she'd have it down, and she'd right into it. Once in a while, she'd glance up. The place was emptying out, piece by piece, you know. And I thought, what the hell? I'm going to let all these guys leave, or they're in detention to themselves, you know, and they're all getting out the window, a story and a half. And what am I going to sit there and not let them? So I start moving over toward the window too. There's a window, and they're all slowly. And she'd look down and do some more paperwork, and the guys are moving over on closer and closer. Well, the dean of men, I think he was, higher official, and I don't know how he caught on, but when I went out, I was about the last guy out, and I hit him coming down, and I knocked him right into a briar bush next to Elmira Free Academy.
And you were expelled from school, I take it.
I never came back.
Okay.
That's why you went to Manlius.
Yeah, that started me off on a military career.
Well, that's quite a story. All right, well, thank you so much for your interview.
Well, it was our pleasure. You do a great job.
Thank you.